And as a young kid, I was 7 and 8 years old while this election took place. So I don't have a lot of detailed memories about that particular election. This one, however, is very different because as an adult, it's definitely a different perspective. And it's certainly a different perspective running on the Republican ticket. My grandfather was a 10-term Republican congressman. He has won both in the 22nd District of Texas and the 14th District of Texas as a Republican. So I'm excited to see my grandfather running for president in 2008 as a Republican. It's been a very difficult and interesting and fun year for our family as we've watched this last year as my grandfather has gone on these tours speaking and going and appearing in the Republican debates. It has been definitely high tension, high stress in our household. We definitely tune in, if not go. I had the opportunity to go to the New Hampshire debate this summer. I've met people from all around the country. I've seen things in our nation that has excited me about politics, and it's definitely even cured my apathy. And I've heard that a lot from people that are supporting this Ron Paul revolution. So every time that I log onto the internet and I see things like the Ron Paul Balloon and meet up groups from all across the nation bringing this message of limited government and freedom and the need to turn back to using the United States Constitution as a benchmark for government, it's been truly exciting. And it's I believe that it's just begun. I believe that after only 4 primaries and caucuses today, we have a long election ahead of us, and I think it's going to be very exciting to see what's going on. But I balance my role as an assistant principal in public schools with my role as the grandson of Ron Paul and doing my very best to see that my grandfather gets elected president and gets elected the nominee for the Republican Party. I have my own radio talk show that I was so blessed to get on the Ron Paul Revolution Radio. Those of you that haven't had an opportunity to check out the Ron Paul Revolution Radio, you can tune into that on the internet at rprradio.com, and it's been a lot of fun. A good friend of mine, Dr. Ryan Osborne, and I have a show called Generation Liberty. And that's why I'm excited to be here talking to students at Lamar University, because I think it's incredibly important for this generation of individuals ages 18 to 30 that we really get involved and we really begin to understand what's going on in our nation. And it's been a very successful effort thus far, and we certainly look forward to more success in the future. And speaking about success, we certainly have had that, especially in light of how much money has been raised. When you look at it, $30 million has been raised for this Ron Paul revolution. And it's not coming from huge PACs. It's not coming from single donors. It's coming from individuals all across the nation that are donating $20, $40, $60, $80 when they can. And that's the most exciting part about it, is to see how much money has been raised. And unlike any other candidate, my grandfather put the ticker right there on the main official website, where we can see how much money is being raised, where we can see how much monetary support has been placed behind my grandfather. So it's been a lot of fun. And it's been especially interesting to see how much money he's been able to raise. The one thing that I like to talk about when I get the opportunity is to talk about the fact that this is not so much about the messenger as it is the message. Some people take a look and say, Ron Paul needs to be elected. And that is the goal. That's what we want to do. We want Ron Paul to be the nominee for the Republican Party in the 2008 presidential election. But when we started this campaign over a year ago now, the goal was the message. The goal was to change the course of debate in the Republican Party. And I truly believe that we've already succeeded in that. Because if you happen to notice, some of the other Republican candidates have even begun to change their own stump speeches, talking about printing money and things of that nature that my grandfather's been talking about for so very long. And I think the biggest difference there is that they're cherry-picking from that stump and cherry-picking the ideas that are going to sound good in a 30-second soundbite. And those of you that know my grandfather, it's not about a 30-second soundbite. You're going to have to put more time into it than that. You're going to have to put your thinking cap on to understand the problems that face our nation and the solutions that he has to change the course of this nation and to return to a limited government, to freedom, civil liberties, and the Constitution. This is a long campaign. There is a lot left. And as we've seen in the 3 or 4 primaries that have already taken place, there have been 3 or 4 different winners. So the success that my grandfather's had is growing, the momentum is growing, the money continues to grow. Even still today as we speak, there is another money bomb scheduled for the Martin Luther King Day on the 21st of January. So we're very excited about the continuing support that's growing for my grandfather. But there's several issues that he's talked about in this presidential race that are worthy of note. One thing that he talks about quite a bit is the economy and the debt that the United States has begun to accrue. The United States is in debt, and we've got a serious problem on our hands with the amount of money that we not only owe ourselves, but we owe other nations like China and Saudi Arabia. And that really should allow us to stop and really think, what are our priorities? And debt and taxes in our nation is definitely a priority. Yes, absolutely. Ron Paul has been the taxpayer's best friend for 10 terms in Congress since 1974. But the concept that a lot of people don't understand is in order to lower taxes, you absolutely positively have to cut spending. And that's a concept that is catching on. People are beginning to realize that in order to lower taxes, in order to have a sound economy, we have to start first and foremost by cutting spending. The United States is $9 trillion in debt. That is a tremendous amount of money. And one of the reasons that we named our radio show Generation Liberty is because it's this generation. It's the generation of college students. It's the generation of children that are in the public high school where I teach. That $9 trillion is going to be transferred to their shoulders. It is going to be their responsibility. That is our responsibility, because I too fall into that category of being 18 to 30. So it is very important. It's important for me to make sure people understand that we have got to get this debt under control so that when my 1-year-old son is an adult, he can understand and know that our economy has changed since the early 21st century, and we've got to get a hold on spending, and we've got to lower taxes. But the problem more so in the economy is simply the fact that we continue to print money when it's to our will. The fiat system is not working. We are in a recession. This is not an idea of, well, I'd like to think that the economy is strong. We're in a recession. We're going downhill fast, and we've got to make some serious decisions in this 2008 election. Are we going to continue with the status quo and put another Republican in office who's done the same things since George H.W. Bush was placed into office? We have got to change the Republican Party back to the path that it was once on. The Republican Party was once a party of humble foreign policy and freedom and trade and lower taxes, but we've definitely seen a shift in that. This debt has been left to the next generation, and we have to remedy that so that the next generation following ours has a strong economy to fall back